Welcome back to Onshape. Today what we're going to learn how to do is a basic modeling technique called sweep. So we're over here in our online exercises. Very first thing we want to do is start a new document and select millimeters as our unit, sketch on the front plane just like we've been doing. So I'm going to create a document and I'm just going to call this sweep sample. Start my units, and I'm going to go ahead and select these as millimeters, and we'll go kilograms again. Start a sketch on the front plane, hit the N key. So we've done our two steps. The next thing we're going to do is sketch this shape. Now we're going to sketch the shape by going and using some letter designations. So remember, L does a line, A does an arc. So we're going to go between A and L in here. And I'll show you an even easier way to do that. We're going to start at our origin and sketch out this paperclip shape. So let's hit L. That'll select my line tool. In my sketch, you'll see it turns blue up here. And start at my origin. And I'm going to come horizontally out, drop my line. And now I'm going to hit A. And what you're going to see is that arc tool comes up. Now it happens to be a 3-point arc. That's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and drop these two arcs like that. And now I'm going to hit my line tool again for L. So I can kind of go between these pretty readily. And I'll go arc, bang, bang, pull it out, and line tool again. So you can see I can use these shortcuts of these keys to make my job a little easier. Lots of different shortcuts. This is just one of them. And the L key again. And I'll zoom in a little bit on that. Hit the escape key to get out of my line tool. And you'll see I've got this basic shape up here. Looks pretty good. Next thing we want to do is to check our constraints. So as you remember, the way that we do that is we select show our constraints. I want to be sure that I'm tangent at all these transition points. If you're not tangent when you do a sweep, what will happen is the sweep will break at the non-tangent line. You'll have to start another sweep. So I click these two, tangent, and if I hover over, I can see I'm tangent there, but I also need to be tangent here. So it should be tangent there. And I want to be tangent here. I'm tangent here, and here I want to be tangent, and I am. That tangency. Tangent there. I need to be tangent between these two lines. Oops. Accidentally selected the wrong thing there. And non-tangent. So tangent, 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 all the way back. Looks pretty good. And that's what we're going for. And here's our drawing. Now, one thing to point out, this just means that this arc right here goes through 180 degrees. So by definition, that puts the center of the arc above and the top and bottom points. So we'll go ahead and check that on our drawing. So if I grab this, and I'm not in any particular tool, I've hit the escape key. You'll see that as I move this, you'll see how my lines move. So you can see that these two are right above each other. If I click on this point or on that relationship, that just shows that these 2 points are above each other, okay? That's what that's showing. So same thing there. I've got that. It's directly above. I've got this. It's directly above the center point. So next thing we want to do is apply some dimensions. We'll go to split screen for this. I'm going to turn off showing my constraints. Now, and I'm going to apply my dimensions. Same good practice. Apply that biggest dimension first. Grab my dimensioning tool. And this time what I'm going to do is make it so I can see my whole model. And I'm going to go point to point for my 2 large dimensions. Now notice if I go in a line like that, it wants to do the linear distance between. If I pull it down, it does the horizontal distance. I want that to be 125. Hit N again so I can reframe this. And I'll zoom back in. And now we're going to go ahead and finish my dimensions here. So this line right here is 75. Oops, dimension tool. That line is 75. This radius is 20. This radius is 15. This radius is not stated here. Let's see. 15, 15, I gotta go point to point here. That is 25. And then we forgot to add one constraint here. So I'll get out of my dimension tool. And what I forgot to do is I forgot to put the end point here underneath the end point there. So those two are vertical. That's one of the constraints that's given in the instructions here. So that's vertical. And similarly, these 2 points right here and here need to be horizontal. So I'm going to change this to horizontal. So the 2 arc centers are horizontal. There you go. And when I apply this horizontal relationship right here, I'll show you. When I apply this horizontal relationship between these 2 arcs, it defines the size of that arc. That's why there's no dimension right there. Okay, just be sure you have all of those constraints the way that they're shown. And they're kind of shown here pretty good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and rename this sketch. So I'm going to come up here and I can come right into this box right here and I can rename this sketch. Click on the little pencil tool and I'm going to call this my path sketch. You can name it anything you want, but we just want to be able to differentiate easily between the path and the shape we're going to sweep along it. So that is the path that the shape, or that we're going to sweep along, or we're going to make our contour along. So we're going to do a second sketch. So on this sketch, we're going to click on the sketch, and now we can rotate our model around, and we really want to use the right plane. What we want to do is we want to be coincident with where that dot ends right there. So I'm going to go right plane. Okay. And then I'm going to hit the N key, so we're looking at it straight on. So this is actually, as I rotate my sketch, you can see we're looking at that origin right there, and that's the sketch we did in the front plane. So go back to N. So on this shape, what we're going to do is we're going to just drop a circle. And I'm going to make that circle size 5. Now I'll zoom in a little bit. Now what I want to do is I want to orient this circle to that path. So what we're going to do is I'm going to change my view here a little bit. I'm holding my mouse wheel down just so we can see better. I'm out of my dimension tool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my path endpoint right here. And I want to choose coincident. And now I'm going to choose my center point of the circle. And it snaps down on. And all it does is places it on the path. That's a requirement for us to do an effective sweep. We're going to go ahead and rename this. I'm going to call this my profile sketch. Hit the check mark, and you'll see I've got a path sketch and a profile sketch. Now the next thing we want to do is choose our sweep tool. So we'll go back to a full screen here. My sweep tool right here, and it's going to ask me about what shape I want to use, and then what path it wants to follow. So when I click on that shape, here is the face of the face that I want to, sorry, I got into revolve by accident. There we go, sweep. It says what face do I want to sweep. So I highlight that, and then I want to pick that sketch. Now the other way I can do it is I can highlight this and I can come over here and I can choose my profile sketch right there. Similarly, I can click on the path, or I could click on the profile, the path sketch rather. So I'll click on the path sketch, and now you'll see it previews it for you. Again, new, add, remove, or intersect. It's the first part in here, so it's going to be new. Now the reason the sweep works like this in one path is because we made all of these transitions from straight to an arc as tangent transitions. So we're going to rename our part, right click, rename, and we're going to call this a paper clip. We're going to assign a material to the paper clip, right click again, assign material, and we want this to be aluminum 1060. So again, my hint for you here is to click down in this box and type in the number 1060. You'll see aluminum 1060. I get a density assigned to the part. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to check its mass. So click on the scale. It asks me of what. Click on my paper clip. And you'll see that I'm 0.026 kilograms. Now you'll see I say 0.026 kilograms. Their answer is in grams. So I'd have to shift it over. So 26.050 grams right there. See my results? Voila.